Part 2.2, Cancer Journey. So, continuing on from the pump breaking, I had to, do the phone call and everything else, and had the dead pump and so on and so forth. So, I go back the next day, Tuesday, to get the pump fixed. And that took about 3 hours for the girls to get all the pieces that they needed to get the hoses and whatnot so that they could get the pump working. And they didn't do anything wrong, nothing on their part. It just, they didn't have the pieces there because normally this doesn't happen. But again, this is me. Yay, go me, because fucked up shit always happens for me. So we get it all fixed. They get it working again. It doesn't leak. I don't feel no cold. Everything seems to be good. So now I get to go through the infusion for about 22 hours. They did knock off 2 for me, which fine, whatever. But that meant I had to go in Thursday morning to get the pump disconnected. So I basically, go through, again, like I said, sleeping really isn't that bad. The problem's coming down to as everything's starting to get into your system and all these changes are starting to happen, let alone you're making diet changes. One, you don't want to feed the, cancer with sugar, so you want to cut out your sugar stuff. They don't really put you on any kind of dietary restriction unless maybe you were, had more weight or something like that. I didn't really lose a lot of weight, so I would lose like a pound or 2 a day. And that's maybe even a half a pound at times. So that wasn't really bad. And then I ended up going and using the keto diet, which actually helped. I would lose, but I could also gain, which is sort of funny because it was like a little back and forth. But so Wednesday comes around and I go in for my disconnect. Disconnect goes great. So at this point I get home and we have been discussing getting a second opinion because they indicated there, get a second opinion if you want. And that's exactly what we wanted. So we went with Johns Hopkins, which has a 2% leak rate. So I call up, I go through the whole process, find out I could sign, I could get set up on the portal. I originally had called Johns Hopkins within the first week, I think, like halfway through. Didn't hear anything back. So Wednesday I had called and I'm like, oh, well, you can, they didn't get the results, blah, 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 blah. You didn't tell me I could set up the portal and link the account so that you could see everything. Hello, that would have helped and process stuff faster. So I did do that. They got to see the results. So then they, were looking for a doctor to schedule me with. And they had me scheduled to come down to Baltimore to meet with this one doctor. So in the interim of waiting for that time, he goes through all the results that he had access to, pulled all the biopsies, requested the slides, the biopsy, the block, and everything. So I was really surprised. But the funny thing was, he turned around and canceled my appointment. And I ended up getting a phone call about it, going, the appointment was canceled because he doesn't specialize in esophagus. So he wants me to see a specialist or somebody who's more well suited to do esophageal cancer kind of stuff. So at this point, all we're looking for is a second opinion, treatment-wise. That's as far as we were really thinking. So I was going back and forth between 2 women at Johns Hopkins, which really made things frustrating because it was all over the place. So they get me scheduled for this Dr. Lamb. And I'm supposed to go and see him. Okay, great. He's a medical oncologist, so he would do treatment. So that's all cut and dry. That's ready to be done. 22nd was when I got chemo. I would have seen him that Friday. I think it was. Yeah. So then I get a phone call back going, we want you to see a surgical oncologist. Okay, fine. So they're looking through, and they set me up with one of the chief for thoracic surgeries who does esophageal ectomies. Perfect. Well, we can't get you in the same day as Dr. Lamb. Now, they know I'm coming from Bethlehem, PA, so they're trying to figure out how they can do this. So they're like, well, we'll give you a call back. So I get a call back going, well, we can do a virtual with this Dr. Badafarino, and I forget about Dr. Lamb. I guess both of them. They never really specified, technically, if I think about it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we work on getting that set up. Get a phone call back. Again, going, no, Badafarino wants to see you in person. Okay, what did I do? So I get to go in and see Dr. Lamb and Badafarino, and they changed my date to Thursday at, what the hell time was it? 2 o'clock, I think it started, was when everything started. Now, mind you, you got to just a 3-hour drive. You're supposed to be there 15 minutes early because, you know, of course, they want you to fill out paperwork, which wasn't really that bad. So I'm like, sure, that's fine, no problems. So we go, and honestly, I am so glad we went. I met Dr. Lamb. He's really nice. He agrees with the treatment plan going on up here. He said there's no reason to change it. He likes what they're doing. I was like, okay, cool, check mark. Boom, done. Now I gotta wait. He's like, in the interim, he goes, can we take blood from you? Sure, I don't mind. It's not doing much anyways, at the moment. So they took some blood. They wanted to do a test, and I forget what the test was. It's in the chart, though. So then I finally get to meet Badafarino. Now, mind you, he's this like semi-tall, skinny-ass man, probably about my age. And all you see is the light bulbs constantly going off in his head. It was just unbelievable. So he sits down. He wants to know the story. He wants to, he's trying to fill in all the gaps, which I couldn't even do for him. So it ended up Rich is like giving him all the info, telling him what the doctors had set up there, the little bits and pieces we got about the surgery and everything else. So he explains everything. And he goes through it and he goes, here's the problem. I'm an oddity. And the reason why is I have the esophageal cancer, I have a lymph node that's got cancer on that same side, and I also have a lymph node on the left side that has cancer. And that's what makes it the oddity, because where it sits is right in between the aorta and the pulmonary, right, in your heart, in the chest, on the left-hand side. That's the complication. So my case at Lehigh Valley was sent to a tumor board, and it was discussed at length because of this lymph node on the left side that's cancerous. And yes, surgery can be done, but it would be a 2-part surgery. And then it was debating who could do the pulmonary, the one that's on the left side, the lymph node on the left side. And I'm going to pause here, and I will continue in the next one.